This is a recreation of the Daily Planet from the brand new Superman movie, and in this video, I'll be making 4 more LEGO builds that take direct inspiration from this movie. First though, I'd like to address something. Despite the film being the most anticipated movie of 2025, LEGO hasn't made any sets for it. This mech is the only non-Batman set we've gotten from the DC superhero theme in 5 years. And it's a mech! For Superman. Lex Luthor is literally in the set. What were they thinking? This video will serve as an example for what sets we could have gotten, but LEGO completely missed out on. I spent over a week making these builds, so I hope you all enjoy my take on the 2025 Superman movie. Now, I already have a Superman fig, but I do need to make Clark Kent, Superman's clumsy alter ego. I used both the legs and the torso from Bruce Banner, and gave him some normal black hair and this head from Jurassic World. Yeah, nobody will be suspecting this dude is Superman. The trailers for this film also show we'll be seeing a lot of Crypto the Superdog. Thankfully, LEGO has made a figure. What a time when LEGO actually cared about the DC sets. Now Lois, I will need to make a full custom for. To build her, I took some black legs and this torso from a Marvel set. I added a basic female head and Gamora's hair. I didn't have any completely black female hair that worked for her, so her hair is gonna have to be a little bit purple. Finally, we have a super simple Lex Luthor, who's wearing a business suit. Okay, now let's get on with the actual builds. The trailers so far have put heavy emphasis on 3 different locations: Metropolis, the Fortress of Solitude, and this Battleground. I have an idea for that last one. I made a sandy base, making sure to add some foliage and some small fires. I then took this large dish piece and wrapped some treads around it. This gives a very nice display look while also being somewhat symbolic of the fact that this is a war zone. After that, I made this really cool flag and put a kid at the base. Now the people have a way to call Superman for help. While I don't see LEGO ever making a set like this, I could definitely imagine this being a gift with purchase for some larger Superman set. So overall, 5 out of 10. Now then, let's move on. Now there's a scene that's been floating around of Superman confronting Lex Luthor. Whoa, nobody told me this was going to be a John Wick movie. We'll be building Lex's office. I started with a dark bluish gray base and incorporated this Technic mechanism. I promise this will make sense in a moment. I then built the desk and set it on top. Now Lex's office has this really cool blue watery effect behind it. To recreate it, I used a bunch of these 1x4 light blue bricks and surrounded them in brown. Now on this shelf back here, I added a few simple artifacts and a bunch of trophies. I don't know, Lex just seems like the kind of guy to have a ton of these. After putting in the door, or at least door frame, I added a chair, some shattered glass, and the main man Lex Luthor himself. Oh, and of course we can't forget Superman bursting in. Now going back to that Technic mechanism, if you haven't figured it out by now, by turning this knob in the back, it lets Superman throw the desk across the room. Overall, this is a super neat build with a great play feature. I'm gonna rate this a 7 out of 10. Now for the next location, let's take a trip to the North Pole and build the Fortress of Solitude. Also, let's just be real. Every craftsman, whether it's a LEGO builder, an engineer in his garage, or a woodworker, has at some point in his life named his workspace the Fortress of Solitude. It's always that or the man cave. Anyway, I'm getting sidetracked, back to LEGO. We'll be mainly working on recreating the interior of the fortress, because wow, if I wanted to create the exterior, that would be a lot more parts than I have. I made this large snowy base, but decided to hide a cool Easter egg in it. Can you see it? That's right, it's shaped just like the Superman logo. Thought that would be a pretty fun touch. To create the ice walls, I used a bunch of white bricks capped with some white slope and tooth parts. One of these walls I put at an angle facing inwards, and the other is just straight up. On the third wall, I made these 2 light bluish gray panels. One upright and one inverted. If you're wondering what holds these in place, well, nothing. Nothing at all. I then built a rock face around the door, and added the rest of the ice wall on top. In the center, I added a recovery chair for Superman to recharge with yellow sun energy, and on the side, I added a computer. At least I think this is a computer. These Kryptonian forts are hard to figure out sometimes. For the final touches, I added a solar magnifier, some ice spikes, and some minifigs. This version of the fortress also has a bunch of these robot characters, which I'm not sure where they come from, but here's how I built one. This is a perfect display piece. The border is clean, and it's obvious to any Superman fan what this is supposed to be. Super happy with this build, 8 out of 10. Now for the final build of the video, let's go back to Metropolis and build the Daily Planet. This is the news publication where Clark Kent works. I started with the sidewalk and added a front to the building using some windows and a door. Around the back, I used some basic bricks to create a front desk and a coffee machine. After finishing the second floor, I made a big white column with TVs on the side. At the base of said column, I built 2 desks with computers and stacks of newspapers. Going back down to near the base of the model, I made a phone booth. I'm sure the real Superman fans will understand this. In front, I made a market stall where the newspapers can be sold from the Daily Planet. And also some potted plants and a fire hydrant. Back up at the top of the tower, I built another floor using a bunch of tan bricks and windows. For the inside floor, I thought it would be cool to have a bunch of papers being printed, so I made an industrial copy machine. Setting all the previous segments aside, I started working on the roof. For the transition details, I used a bunch of these weird tan slope parts and alternated them like this. The Daily Planet also has this sand green roof, which is a challenge for me because I have incredibly little of the color. Thankfully, I was able to use what little parts I had to make this very convincing roof. Now you may be wondering, just how am I going to make the planet shape? LEGO hasn't made any golden ball parts as far as I'm aware, and if they have, I definitely don't have any. To get the shape, I took some of these yellow speed sphere parts from the Sonic the Hedgehog theme, and placed some standard bricks between them. For the ring around the planet, I used a bunch of these mixel joints. Now that we've got that all done, let's put all these segments together and take one good cinematic look. This build was very satisfying to make. It makes for an amazing display or playset. 10 out of 10. But anyway, that's gonna be all for this video. YouTube thinks you'll like this video next, so give it a try. My name has been Brick Stoic, and I'll see you next time.